Imagine thinking that every setback and difficulty in your life was actually preparing you for something bigger. I understand that sounds like just another motivational quote you see on social media. But what if I told you that this isn't just a catchphrase? It comes from an old theory and has stood the test of time. Yes, I'm talking about Stoicism, a way of thinking that teaches us not only how to deal with life's problems, but also how to welcome them and use them to make us stronger. Today, we're going to get to the heart of Stoicism and look at how this ancient wisdom can be more than just a light in the dark times. It can also help us live with purpose and strength every day. Stoic teachings show us that the power to live a happy life is not in changing our circumstances, but in changing how we react to them. They can help us not only survive, but also thrive in the face of personal trials, professional challenges, or just the everyday chaos of life. You've come to the right place if you've ever felt like you were always going against the tide, if you've ever thought how to find peace in the midst of the storm, or if you're just interested in how ancient wisdom can help us live better lives today. Discover how to use the ideas of Stoicism to turn your toughest situations into your biggest wins, and learn how to live with purpose, honesty, and an unbreakable spirit. Today, let's start this trip together and learn how to use the things that stand in our way to help us grow the most. Number 1. Question your limits. Have you ever caught yourself giving up on something you really wanted? We often go through days, weeks, or even years without really questioning the limits we've set for ourselves. But this is where the powerful question, why not, comes into play. The question is simple, but it can help us get past the fear and laziness that hold us back. Allow us to add some Stoicism to this now. The Stoics didn't just sit back and let life happen to them. They were active and always looked at their lives, choices and actions through the lens of virtue and getting better. When faced with a problem or a choice, a Stoic would ask, why not take the path that leads to growth? This doesn't mean taking risks without thinking. It means making choices that are in line with your higher self and your core values. When you're at a crossroads and not sure if you want to go into the unknown or step up your efforts, stop and ask yourself, why not? Why not try for that raise, start that project, or take that leap of faith towards your dreams? Our futures are shaped by the choices we make at these times, but here's the catch. Asking, why not, isn't just about facing problems from the outside. It's also about facing the stories we tell ourselves that hold us back. It's about fighting against self-doubt, the fear of failing, and the ease of things as they are. This is an action-oriented message telling you to rise above failure and accept your greatness potential. Don't forget that all the Stoic heroes you've heard about, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, saw problems as chances to grow. These people didn't settle for an easy and comfortable life. Instead, they looked for the way of virtue, strength, and personal greatness. It's the same thing you do when you ask yourself, why not? You step into the arena, ready to fully connect with life, to grow, learn, and come out stronger and wiser. The next time you feel like hesitating, know that you have the power to change the story. You are strong enough to go beyond what you think is possible. Take on a tough attitude and ask yourself, why not? See how far your interest, courage, and dedication can take you. Number 2, be obsessed with getting better. This never-ending search for improvement fits nicely with the Stoic idea of prokopton, which means to make steady progress or to be a work in progress. The Stoics thought that people should focus on what they could change, like their good qualities, deeds, and reactions to things that happened in the outside world. Not perfection, but growth was what they were after, and that's what I want you to go after: steady, unwavering growth. Take a look. Improving yourself is what makes life worth living. Whether you're trying to get better at your job, make your relationship stronger, or find inner peace. Growth is what makes life worth living. Self-mastery is a Stoic trait that fits well with someone who is always trying to get better. You're committed to becoming your best self, not for praise or approval from other people, but because it's the most honest way to live your life according to your values. But here's the thing, being concerned with getting better doesn't mean you're mean or unforgiving to yourself. It's about making a caring, long-lasting commitment to your growth. It's about enjoying the little wins and always wanting to move on to the next level of your development. And yes, there will be setbacks and failures along the way, but like a true Stoic, you'll see these not as losses but as things you can learn from and ways to get better. So, how do you develop this need to always be better? First, make sure your goals are clear, well thought out, and in line with your ideals. Every day, think about the things you do and choices you make, and ask yourself if they are in line with your growth goals. Challenges are good because they help you learn and push yourself. Most importantly, keep an open mind and a desire to learn. Be ready to change and improve your method at all times. There is no end to improvement. To grow, learn and be better, there's always more to discover, master and show. And it's in this never-ending search that we find the most happiness and satisfaction. As a result, let's make getting better a way of life, not just a way to get somewhere else. Let's push and support each other as we go along this road to reach new heights, take charge of our own lives, and live each day with purpose, passion, and an unquenchable desire to grow. Number 3, pour your heart into it. People who follow the Stoics are known for being strong, stable, and devoted to their beliefs. They give something their all when they commit to it, not because they want praise or attention, but because they know that this is what it means to live a good, worthwhile life. They don't do their tasks or passions half-heartedly. Instead, they put their whole selves into them, showing that the value of our actions lies not in how they turn out, but in how committed we are to them. Giving it your all means putting all of your energy, attention and hard work into your goals, no matter what they are. It means choosing every morning that you're not going to let life happen to you. Instead, you're going to use your thoughts, choices and actions to make your future what you want it to be. It's not enough to just dream big. You have to also act big. You have to take those big, brave steps that move you forward, even when the road ahead is full of problems and unknowns. Giving it your all isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you do it. What's more important? It means doing your work, taking care of your relationships, and working on yourself with honesty, energy, and sincerity. It means giving it your all, whether you're working on a job, spending time with family and friends, or thinking about how you can grow as a person. And when problems come up, which they always do, you have to face them with courage and power, using your inner strength to get through them. How can you start living your life with all your heart? Find out what's most important to you, your core beliefs, your most important goals, and your deepest passions. Then make a promise to follow these with all your heart. You should hold yourself to high standards and try to meet them every day, not because you feel like you have to, but because you want to live a full and honest life. Remember that giving everything you have is a way of life, not just something you do once. Every day, every moment, and every breath, you make this choice. As you adopt this way of thinking, you'll find that it not only helps you reach your goals, but it also gives your journey a deep sense of meaning and fulfillment. Let's set out on this path together, encouraging and supporting each other to give it our all, live with unwavering heart and purpose, and leave a legacy of excellence and virtue that lasts. Because what matters isn't just what we get, but also who we become along the way. Our world is full of temptations, things that draw our attention away, and, let's be honest, many reasons to go in a different direction. The real magic happens when you stick to your path, even when there's a lot of noise and chaos around you. You're standing up for something bigger. In the end, you're honoring your path, your values, and yourself. The Stoics knew that life is full of things that can take our attention away from our true purpose. On the other hand, they knew how important it was to stay the course and stick to their beliefs and goals. For Stoics, staying on your road wasn't just about getting things done, it was about being honest and having good character. What does it mean for you to keep going? It means being sure of where you want your life to go and who you want to become. So know what you stand for and what you're working toward. It means you set your goals and stick to them, even when it storms and the water gets rough. Number 4, stay on your path. The important thing is to remember that staying on your path doesn't mean being fixed or unwilling to change. Because life is unpredictable, keeping on course means being able to change your plans, learn from your mistakes, and adjust your sails as needed. The important thing is that these changes always fit with your core ideals and long-term goals. How then can you be sure you stay on your path? Being self-aware is the first step. Think about your beliefs, your goals, and how you want your life to go. You should write them down, read them often, and use them as a guide. Develop the self-control to make decisions that are in line with your plan, even if they are hard or unpopular. Also, know that being strong is important when you face problems or setbacks. These things should be seen as chances to make you more determined and dedicated to your journey. People often tell us to keep our eyes on the goal and judge our success by the results we get. But what if I told you that letting go of your beliefs about what will happen gives you a lot of freedom and power? This is where Stoicism really shines, giving us a deeply freeing view that can change how we live our lives and how we think about success. Number 5. Don't focus on outcomes. There are some things we can control and some things we can't. This is what the Stoics teach us. What we do, how we feel, and what we intend to do are all up to us. However, the results are often determined by things that we can't change. We can become frustrated, let down, or even hopeless when we focus too much on results. This is because we're holding on to something we can't really control. How do you move your attention away from results? Giving your all to something means putting your whole heart and soul into it, whether it's a work job, a personal goal, or a relationship. It means putting in all of your effort into the process and being open to the difficulties and chances to learn that it brings, without getting too attached to the end result. Think about how freeing it would be to do your work with love and dedication, not because you think it will get you rewards or praise, but because you believe in what you're doing. Stoic wisdom is all about finding happiness and purpose in the things you do, not just the things they might lead to. To be clear though, not caring about results does not mean not caring about success or not setting goals. To be successful, you need to change how you think about it in terms of your own acts and character. Were you honest, brave, and dedicated in what you did? Did you learn and grow? From a Stoic point of view, these are the real ways to measure progress. So how can you start living your life with this mindset? First, think about what you stand for and what kind of person you want to be. When you set your goals, think about the traits you want to improve and the things you want to do instead of the things you hope to get from them. When you start to worry about what might happen, gently tell yourself of what you can really change and try to focus your energy on your actions and attitudes instead. Number 6. You attract what you embody. Think of your life as a mirror that reflects back not only what you show the world, but also what's inside you. If you are angry, afraid, or negative, it will show in everything you do and everyone you meet. On the other hand, if you work on virtues like honesty, kindness, and resilience, they will show in your life and bring you good relationships and situations. Because they knew that a strong, good character is the basis of a good life, the Stoics stressed how important it was to build one. Some of them thought that you couldn't change the world around you, but you could change who you are in it. And if you work on being the best version of yourself, your life will automatically reflect those qualities. How then can you live by the idea that you get what you are every day? Start by regularly reflecting on your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Look at them with kindness and objectivity, and find ways you can grow and get better. Develop the values that are important to you, whether that's being brave in tough situations, sticking with your goals, or caring about other people. Remember that this isn't about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about being aware of how your inner state shows up in the outside world. It means trying to make sure that your activities are in line with your highest values and principles, even if it's hard. And when you fail, which we all do, you need to be humble and strong enough to learn from it and keep going on your path to becoming better. By accepting this Stoic wisdom, you give yourself the power to make your own world. You know that even though you can't change what happens to you, you have a lot of control over how you react and who you choose to be. As you become more in tune with your greatest ideals, the world around you will start to show the same quality and depth. Number 7. Embrace the challenge. Now think about the problems you've had to deal with. They happen to everyone, no matter how big or small the problem is. Our first response might be anger, disappointment, or even hopelessness. Instead, what if we saw these problems as secret gifts that would help us grow and learn about ourselves? That's the main idea behind this Stoic view. When the Stoics talked about problems, they weren't being sarcastic or ignoring how hard life can be. They were well aware of the pain and trouble that problems can cause. However, they also thought that every problem had the potential for an advantage equal to or greater to it. What makes our experience unique is not the barrier itself, but how we deal with it. When we choose to see the problem as a way forward, we change from being passive victims of our situations to active, powerful change agents. How can you use obstacle is the way in your everyday life? When you face a problem, start by changing the way you think about it. Take a moment to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this situation help me grow? Don't let problems drain your energy and spirit. Instead, use them to build your strength, creativity, and determination. Accept the fact that the most rewarding roads often have the steepest ascents. Your character growth and personal story are affected by the problems you face, the obstacles you get past, and your determination. Every problem you face is a chance to practice good traits like patience, courage, and adaptability, which will make you a better, smarter person. Also, keep in mind that getting past problems often takes creative thinking and a willingness to go in new directions. We are forced to broaden our views, think outside the box, and find skills we didn't know we had when we were going through hard times. When we take a calm view of problems, we also learn to be thankful for the growth they help us make. We learn to value the road with all of its ups and downs, because we know that the deepest lessons are often learned when things go wrong. Number 8. Do what you can. Life is a big picture, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by how big our goals are or how hard the problems we face are. Some of us might wonder, what difference can my small contribution possibly make? But the truth is that every big accomplishment is made up of many smaller ones. The Stoics knew that we can't change the big picture, but we can change the choices we make every moment. They teach us to live in the present and do what needs to be done right now, without getting stuck on the big picture or the less than immediate goal. Calls to action like, do what little you can, tell us to live our lives with purpose and activity, no matter how small or humble our efforts may seem. Anyway, how can we follow this rule? First, break down your bigger goals into smaller steps that you can take. Think about what you can do today, even if it's just one little thing. Remember that what matters is how often and how hard you try, not how big the activity is. With each small step, you're putting together a base that will support your bigger goals in the long run. This Stoic way of thinking also tells us to find worth and meaning in the process, not just the end result. Putting our attention on the little things we can do makes us more present, involved, and often more productive. We learn to enjoy the trip with all of its ups and downs because we know that our daily actions and attitudes are what make us grow and feel fulfilled. By following this attitude, we also learn to be humble and strong. We know we're not superpowers, but we also believe in our power and influence. We learn to put things together, change, and keep going, even when growth seems slow or impossible to see. Number 9. Change your definition of success. It's easy to lose sight of what really means in a world where money, job titles, and social media followers are often used to measure success. But what if we stepped back and looked at our success standards again? The Stoics tell us that real success isn't about getting things or making people like you. It's about building a strong character, living in harmony with nature, and doing what we're supposed to do as people. This is about always being honest, fair, brave, and smart no matter what. This way of thinking about success gives us a lot of power because it puts it in our own hands. We can't change the economy, the job market, or other people's thoughts, but we can always change the good things we do and the bad things we do. So how can we begin to change what success means to us? It starts with thinking about yourself. Pause to think about what's important to you and the person you want to become. Think about the traits you admire in other people and want to improve in yourself. Then, make goals that are in line with your values. These goals should focus on your own growth and how you can make other people's lives better. To rethink what success means, you have to learn to value the process as well as the result. Honor your hard work, persistence, and growth, even if they don't pay off right away. As you remember, Stoicism isn't just about reaching your goals. It's also about how you deal with problems and failures. It means keeping your ethics and calmness no matter what is going on around you. Changing how you think about success can also help you be more fulfilled and happy. You can focus on what truly makes you happy and satisfied when you're not constantly looking for approval from other people. Trying to be good and do something useful in the world is probably going to be much more satisfying than any external success. Number 10. Authenticity is more important than praise. Society puts a lot of value on acceptance and validation from others. It's easy to lose who we are and forget what drives us in the process of trying to be liked. Stoicism, on the other hand, is a strong defense against this external focus. It reminds us that our decisions and worth should be based on our own morals and principles, not on the temporary opinions of others. The Stoics teach us that wanting to be liked can make us slaves. That's when we let other people's opinions and views control what we do and how we feel about ourselves. We feel a deep sense of freedom and sincerity when we let go of this need for approval from other people. We can follow our own values and views and do what we really believe is right and important, even if it doesn't make us popular or get us praise. How can we start to separate our deeds from the need to be liked? The first thing that needs to be done is becoming very self-aware. We need to know what drives us, so we can tell the difference between actions that are based on wanting approval from other people and actions that are based on who we really are. It's not always easy to be honest and think about yourself, but it's an important step toward having a more genuine and satisfying life. Next, we need to build trust in the choices and judgments we make. The Stoics stress how important it is to use reason and knowledge to decide what to do. When we believe in our own thinking and act in line with our well-thought-out beliefs, we depend less on other people's approval. We can stick to the decisions we make, even if they're not popular or well understood, because we know they come from our core values. It's also important to accept that not everyone will like you. This is normal and will happen to everyone. Each of us is a unique person with our own views, values, and points of view. We can't please everyone, and if we tried, we'd have to change all the time to meet other people's needs, which would make us lose our sense of who we are. Putting our attention on being real and honest with ourselves helps us find the right connections, ones based on mutual respect and values. And when people criticize or reject us, we can take comfort in the fact that we're living honestly and in line with our Stoic beliefs. Number 11, learn to say no. Learning to say no is very important in a world where people are always trying to get our time, attention, and energy. It's not enough to just say no to things we don't want to do. We also need to stand up for our values, goals, and independence. Stoicism teaches us to pay attention to what's important and within our power. Sometimes that means turning down requests, chances, or even demands that don't fit with our core values. The Stoics believed that we should live in harmony with nature, which meant that we should know and respect our own boundaries. These people knew that our time and energy are limited and that we need to be smart about how we use them. Then, saying no becomes an important exercise in discernment, a way to make sure we're focusing on what's truly valuable and helpful, not just what's urgent or expected of us. But let's be honest, saying no can be very hard. It takes guts, especially when we're used to being praised, or when we're afraid of missing out or letting other people down. Stoicism, on the other hand, tells us to trust our own judgment and make choices based on reason and virtue, not on fear or peer pressure. When we say no with calm confidence, we're not just turning down an offer. We're saying a lot about our values and our desire to live our lives as they really are. How can we say no more often? You need to be clear about what you stand for, what you value, and what your goals are. You can tell which requests are in line with your path and which ones are not, when you have a clear idea of your goal and your values. Remember that telling someone no doesn't have to be rude or angry. It can be done with respect and kindness, saying thank you for the offer while firmly declining. Also, getting better at saying no can be freeing. It frees you from tasks and responsibilities that aren't important, so you can focus on what's important. As you learn to respect your own wants and limits, it also boosts your self-respect. Surprisingly, it can also earn you more respect from others who will see how clear your goals are and how honest you are. Number 12. Let it go with indifference. What does it mean to really let go of it? It's about being aware of and accepting the difference between what we can and cannot control. We can choose to work hard, have good moods, and be good people, but we can't change what happens, what other people do, or fate's whims. We can start to let go of the anger, stress, and sadness that come from holding on to things we can't change when we really understand this. To be clear, letting go with indifference doesn't mean not caring about anything. It means caring strongly about the right things, the ones that are really our choice, and being okay with the rest. It's about wisely using our energy, putting all of our heart and hard work into what we do, and not caring about the results. Just think about how much lighter you'd feel if you stopped worrying about every little thing that didn't go your way and let go of dramas that don't really affect your core tasks and values. This is the freedom that Stoicism gives you, a way to find inner peace and strength no matter what life throws at you. So how do we get better at this skill of letting go without caring? Being aware of our responses and gently reminding ourselves to tell the difference between what we can control and what we can't starts the process. It also takes practice. Like any skill worth learning, we can begin by focusing on small problems that come up in our daily lives and then move on to bigger problems as we get better. I think we'll find something amazing as we practice. The less we try to control things we can't change, the more control we have over ourselves and how we react. Even when things are going crazy, we'll feel calm and clear again. By following the Stoic path through life, we discover that our inner strength comes in our choice of how to react, our ability to keep our attention on what's important, and our ability to let go with ease. Remember that the way to peace and happiness is not through awards or material things, but through developing character, strength, and inner peace. If what you learned today about Marcus Aurelius and the world of Stoicism has helped you doing your best, why not mark this moment? Click the like button to show that you're serious about the change you want to make. If you know someone who is going through the same problems, sharing this might give them the push they need. Let's solidify what we've learned today. Leave a comment that says, "I am growing daily," to show that you are dedicated to improving yourself. It's a simple statement, but we know what it means. We can grow, understand, and solve problems with a little more knowledge and a lot less trouble. Click here to watch 11 signs that you should end every relationship, even if it is your family or a friend. See you there in a second. Be stoic, stay stoic.